All right. What's up, everybody? It has been a while. I feel really rusty, and I was even debating going live because I was like, oh, I need all this prep. I haven't set up the scope in so long. I've been just busy with work and life, and I might have mentioned it on one of the previous shows, but the ecliptic, or the trajectory and arc of the moon, has been so far north for me that I couldn't even scope if I wanted to. So I missed the entire last full moon, and so I kind of just put everything away for a little while. I want to hop back here. The moon was so gorgeous tonight, and I was going to go down and sit by the water and watch it, but instead I got online to share it with y'all. So 9:24 p.m. Eastern, at the edge of space, another journey into the beyond with this unbelievable full moon in April. I want to thank everybody for all the kind messages and emails and thoughts, and just jump in here into the chat. All right. What's up, Mario, and Rainbows and Butterflies, and Budget Luxuries, Ellie Wynn, NGC, great to see both, all of you, Cognition Design, and anybody else joining right now. Fantasy Ecstasy, what's happening? Yeah, it's a little bit hazy. But nice and sharp from edge to edge. And so I'm going to chill with y'all and listen to some music, like old times, like nothing ever happened. Yeah, nothing much has changed. The universe is still electric. Plasma cosmology. At some point, the generations will figure it out. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I did check out some of the recent Thunderbolts Project videos. Seems like they changed the music again, but I don't know, the last couple were okay. Something weird with that whole, I don't want to say weird, it's just like, what a shame that it's kind of died down. It really got stagnant at about 170,000 followers. But enough people understood and got the message, so gotta feel grateful for it. What's up, DJ Italux? Can you zoom in as much as you can? Yeah, I think tonight we have enough contrast where I can zoom in. We'll get right up at the top, Mari Crisium and Proclus, and Sea of Serenity, Tranquility, Mari Imbrium all the way on the left. All the familiar features. It never goes. Yeah, so we'll do some zooms, play some tunes, and yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts. Hope everybody's been well. Yeah, it would be nice to know what happened to Michael Goodspeed and Wall and everybody at the Thunderbolts Project. Maybe I've missed it, but I think the last video about, cosmology in crisis, where they put together all the article titles, I think that's something we've talked about a lot. However, it's just interesting. You got to see, like, maybe it's going to happen in our lifetime, but maybe not, before people understand the connectivity. But we know what's up. Those lunatics. I'm going to play stuff from Captain to the Stars. Let's do Catch right out the gate. Couldn't tell you you so bad, get you so bad, yeah, yeah. Sleepless rider, sleepless all right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to everybody just joining. Miguel, I see you. What's up, ALV, American Life Videos, and Cog Dis Cog Dat. And I said hi to Fantasy. Awesome. Let me know if you're in the chat, how you're feeling. I'm super chill tonight. Like I said, I was going to go sit by the water. I was getting all relaxed because I thought, oh, it's going to be cloudy, and I haven't set up the scope in a while. But I felt compelled. It was too sharp, too nice. So I adjusted the focus here. We got the 11-inch tonight, and we're zoomed in, got centered in on Mare Crisium, and then Proclus is the little white, bright crater with the 3 rays coming off of it. Got Mare Marginis and Mare Undarum to the top right. At the bottom is Mare Tranquillitatis, and then Fecunditatis to the right. So let's sit here for a little bit. And yeah, you were talking about, or you're saying Fantasy was talking about the helicopter that that flew around on Mars. Super interesting. Yeah, I was watching a lot of the Martian stuff, Mars stuff, but I always have that nagging question as to why we can't do it on the moon. Should be easy enough. So still waiting a little bit. Incredible, nevertheless. Yo, what's up, Esoteric Gold? Feeling mighty fine, super full, hell yeah. So yeah, let's jam some music here, have a smoke, and what do I want to play? I haven't played any of these songs either in a while. I had to take a break from everything because I was just like, man, done so many years of this, really just got to sit and enjoy the moon and not have to get on YouTube every time. Yeah. Somehow I tied it so intrinsically to space that it's really hard to even sit and enjoy the moon without feeling like I gotta stream it. And so, anyway, I gave in, but still, let's play some tunes here. Space Race or Vibration Theater. Damn, it's like rediscovering everything. It's your golden toe and your lips. It's your chestnut hair, it's your courage. It's your 9 to 5, baby, kill your life. Measure 6, 5, 6, 7. send them pictures of the moon. Nobody believes it. Sometimes we just get near it. Our inner voices just leave it. I've been there. I see shit. Our oscillators the weirdest. Nobody can hear it. Sometimes we just feel it. On it just staring beneath it. Our operator just know. Flying up till the bubbles pop. And now it's a countdown. all right, before this song. Just hopping in to say what's up to Barbara. What's going on? Mr. Self-Destruct, what's happening? And anybody I missed, hopping in here. Yeah, it's really blue tonight. I do have the saturation pushed up just a little bit, but yeah, definitely not pink. However, the zoom shot is looking mighty nice, considering it's a full moon. We don't get that much contrast. It's looking good. So just a few minutes ago, just at Aristarchus, Copernicus, and Kepler, now over at Tycho crater, you can really see the nice detail there. Of course, the feature of note are the parallel kind of rays that emanate from the left. Really something worth looking into. Yeah, I just love the way the whole regolith is almost stretched and burned into the surface. I can't really get away from the word scars. It always looks like it's scarred. But yeah, I've said it many, many times, but of course, I feel like the lunar surface is one of those key ways of figuring out how the universe really works, because we have an image right in front of us, geology from a distance, and we can see how electricity or huge intergalactic, interstellar lightning bolts can actually tear into a surface. And it's getting bluer by the second. But yeah, I feel like something like Tycho could easily be the hot point where an electric arc met the moon and interacted with Venus or Mars or even Earth. What's going on, Jersey Dolphins? Let's see. No. Yeah, I know there's always a lot of talk about aliens on the moon, but I always feel like there are at least a couple of better ways of looking at the moon before the need for aliens. There could be, but it's much more likely that there's really no way to survive on the moon, given the harsh circumstances. And then right after that, if it's possible to survive, and the moon missions were all above board, then maybe there are breakaway civilizations that already live on the moon, and it's just being rolled out very slowly. The other could be that there, there's life everywhere in the universe. So I don't know if I would really consider it under the umbrella of aliens, as if like we'll find a set of aliens in the universe that somehow stand out. So it's possible that every planet, every moon, and every star has some sort of life that we can understand. But because of the intrinsic nature of the electric universe and the symmetry and the fact that we're grown along filaments, means that every alien, every planet, every star is similar to us, and we're similar to it. So there's no separation between us and aliens. So if we ever find them, or they ever find us, it won't be surprising. Whoa, that was pretty cool. But that actually looked, wait, let's see if that shows up on screen. It looked like it was maybe close to the scope. Earlier it was a bird, but this looks circular for some reason. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe that was something, maybe a satellite of sorts. I'm sitting too far away from the screen. Let me see. What's up, Buried Axeblade says, I got a new camera. Oh, my pictures of the moon. That's awesome. NGC says, wow, look at the edge. Yeah, tonight is just incredible. Let's move up a little bit more. Got some sharpness right here to the right of Tycho. I don't know if that last one was a bird. Super interesting, right? Hey, Mary, what's going on? Good moonbeam to you. Great to see everybody here. Like nothing ever changed. Like nothing ever happened. Back here at the moon. I've definitely missed doing the show, but as I said at the top, I kind of put away all the gear and kind of shut down the computers and kind of left it for a little bit so I could get a break, as well as the fact that the moon arc is so far north for me that I haven't really been able to scope at all. So it was a good time. Back here, though, feels so familiar and awesome. Very nice. We had jet-powered balloons. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Barbara says, we are mere waves in the ether. I think so. I don't know, I wouldn't say mere. I think we're waves to some degree, or we wave in the ether. And when waves resonate with one another, that's what I think we perceive as consciousness. That's what whoa, crazy. What the hell was that? I think a giant bird just flew. Well, hey, I guess I'm catching this about 30 seconds ahead of y'all. But this looks so crazy. It's like a flopping bird. I think of like tonight's just being so funny. Oh, airplane. It's like, that's not a bird, it's too big. That's pretty sweet. Huge airplane right in view. So stupid. All right, let's celebrate a little bit. What's up, Debbie Carson? How's it going? That was like right in view, and we're zoomed in, so it like, think about like how rare that is, that the plane wasn't cropped at all. So crazy. What's happening, Dagger Spells? Buried is saying no drag in the upper atmosphere or much lesser. Yeah, I think it's just like really good weather. The cold front, there's no cold front, and so it's actually quite humid, but yeah, it's sharp. Sharp, sharp, sharp. Maybe the proper word is vibrations in the ether. Yep, I would, I could live with that. I mean, I think it's really that we vibrate along the Birkeland filaments and at different orders of complexity. And so humans are at a certain vibrational complexity where we have combined complex vibrations in one system, 7 of them, and then we kind of connect to other complex systems. But of course, I think within our own system, or like on our skin and nearby, we have these very tiny, tiny fractals to us of organisms that look just like us and resonate just like us, but on a tiny order of magnitude. But I always also think about it like we perceive it as tiny only relative to us. So is it even tiny or large? Like what is dimension anyway when it's only perceived through the eye of the beholder? So I feel like, do ants know that we're huge? You know, they run around on your skin and they bite you, and you're like, do you even know that you're on like a planet-sized or an asteroid-sized object, or are you just going around doing your thing? So I wonder about relativism for sure. But yes, I think high-order complex vibrations in a possible ether creates everything, or is created by itself in a way. But that gets into this kind of space where, you know, taken out of the context of electric universe, let's say that's all correct, we still don't really know, because the self can't really know the self. Because in order to know the self, you wouldn't be able to perceive anything if you knew the self. So in order for us to be conscious, we can't know the reason we created the universe. I think that's really the truth. It's like, if we're the Godhead and we created the original vibration, in order to perceive our own creation, we have to disassociate ourselves from the original vibration in order to perceive it in a polar system, right? So by simply existing, we deny ourselves the ability to see the answer to life, to get the meaning of life. What's happening? More Jello, please. And Eric Jurgensen. What's going on, Jurgensen? Yeah, that was a jet, pretty damn sure. No, when I saw the jet, I only saw a corner of it, and I'm like, man, that looks like a giant bird, like a pigeon just flew in front of my screen. But yes, airplane. Gonna brew some cold brew coffee. Sounds amazing. I really wish I had brewed some before this, but I did not. Ellie Wynn, welcome back. All right. So yeah, I think meaning of life is as close as we can get to the meaning of life is knowing that we hid the meaning of life from ourselves by coming into existence. I think that's the takeaway here. And I'm happy to elaborate. I actually think that really is a physical explanation as to why, the big questions are seemingly out of reach. And it's simply because the system in place that necessitates consciousness also necessitates the ignorance of said consciousness in order to have the interplay between the two. And that interplay is what creates these layers of plasma that are informational plasma. And that informational plasma is what we perceive as memory. And we as vibrations interact with memory in order to create the next memory. And this is what life is. Barbara says, what do you think would happen if we understood it all? I think maybe we would cease to exist, right? I think that's the answer. I think maybe that's why people get the sense that when we die, that then we get the meaning of life. Maybe dissolution of the body, the null point between consciousness and unconsciousness, if we can stay in that period or that periodicity of vibration, then perhaps you can see everything all at once and see both polarities simultaneously. However, I think we are already doing that, which is why, you could argue that we are in heaven or in heaven and hell simultaneously, given that we can see light and dark simultaneously. Buried says, our mind is attached specifically to the memory of feel, an override capacity over see, hear, smell, taste. I think that's interesting, but I would say that see, hear, smell, taste is a version of feeling, right? All of it is sensory, and sensory is likely interpretations of a vibration by another vibration, right? So human existence, our entire structure is vibrating at a rate that makes us solid, but we're only solid in relation to the air around us, and we're only solid in relation to water, right? But let's say a table is more solid than your hand. That's why you can't put your hand through the table. The simple understanding is that the table is vibrating so fast that there's no room for the particles or the vibrations of your hand to go through the table. So that will never happen. And that makes sense as to why things like that don't happen in our world. People don't walk through walls and they don't put their hands through tables. Now, you could argue that in some sort of simulation, you can bend the rules of physics, but I think it makes much more sense that vibrational complexity is at certain rates, and each rate determines level of consciousness. So the rate of human consciousness is at a certain level, and therefore humans can perceive vibrations around them in certain ways. So I think sensory senses are interpretations of vibrations from different parts of the human body. So at every chakra point, there's a funnel system that incorporates information from the ether and spits out information from the ether. It's a series of twin vortices. And I feel like the stomach has a brain. That's what the whole idea where people talk about, think with your heart, think with your mind, think with your gut, right? Your gut is a plasmoid and a pinch along a plasma filament, and it has its own sensory information ability. Thanks, Morgello. I appreciate that. You're peacing out. All right, have a great one. Just finishing up the thought. Yeah, so every chakra has its own brain function, as we understand brain. But think about if you've ever studied or looked into quantum mechanics, they always talk about brain, B-R-A-N-E, like membrane, right? So a brain is a thin layer of plasma that is vibrating in a way that retains memory information. And so when the oscillation of the chakra, as we understand it, interacts with this brain, that's how we read information. And the interaction between the brain and the oscillator creates the next brain. And we push out the previous brain to the outer skin. Yo, what's happening, Easy-E? What's going on? What's up, Talal? What's going on? Peace all. How are you? All right, so those are some thoughts. Let's play some tunes here. I'll stretch. And also I'm going to zoom out so we can see the whole moon. It's going to be a not too long show tonight. I'll try and stream again soon, but definitely want to check in with y'all. Didn't want to miss 2 full moons. Last one is missing full moons is a rare occasion for me, but I actually didn't even see the full moon on the last Passover. It was pure, clouds all night. So I had to do it tonight, and glad to see everybody.
Then I found that policy that cut a real deal between you and me. Then you walk up slowly to me, come up from the sand, and you're carving the trees to play tricks with my head. I got to set the meaning apart of you. All my life and my heart is still aching. Except I needed a part of you. Maybe we'll lose our lives someday, but I got the stars in my heart. No one can take that away. I got the stars in my heart. Set the feeling of sulfur, so fire. 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 Set the feeling of sulfur, go fire. Go and be weird in your heart of the street. So that's snow, that's what's going. So that's what's going. Sky, there's weird. There's no life without fear. So go, that which holds my soul.
All right. A little bit of Set the Feeling. A couple of tracks here. We'll chat a little. Yeah, it's super duper blue. Unbelievably gorgeous tonight. Let me adjust this a little bit. Detail's just amazing. So yeah. No, I did not see anything about Tyler, but I'm glad he's okay. Never wish hurt upon anyone, although it's inevitable that people get hurt. So yeah, just jamming here with y'all for a little bit. I don't know how deep I want to get into Electric Universe stuff, but I know that I was looking up some videos and it doesn't seem like it's as hype as it was a couple of years ago. So we had our first kind of Electric Universe plasma cosmology wave of people enter and understand a little bit about what's going on in our universe. I think right now, in a way, it's correlating with the same way market cycles and cultural cycles work, where there's a bit of a dip in people discovering Electric Universe and the government and the media is never going to make any progress on it without groundswell. So people really requesting it. I am optimistic though. A lot more people are willing to discuss things. I think we're past a certain period of flinging crap at each other over science, because I think what happened is our science programs have advanced to some degree in the last few years. So there is some sort of hope on the horizon. For me, I think there's still an aspect of we don't really know the full story, and that's because private companies don't share their plans, and even more so now. But I think that there will be another resurgence of electric universe understanding and discovery. Could be in 5 years, could be next year. But yeah, I feel like we talked about it a lot. I've done a lot of shows going into extreme detail about the possibilities of what this might bring about if we lived in a world where the public knew about plasma, about the interconnected universe, about vibration. So many fundamental principles would be able to be upended, and we could learn a whole new physics, whole new astronomy, whole new cosmology. It's just there, and the information is there, and the studies are there. It's just that people are not ready for it. And that's how, the physics of it shakes out, is that there's only a certain amount of people that can discover this right now. Red Rum says, if the government confirms aliens, religion would be destroyed. Well, I think there are so many takes on that that I have, but I think a fundamental one would be that religion essentially tells you everything it wants you to do by telling you what it doesn't want you to do. And in a way, aliens are sort of the same thing. Like, there's this idea that if aliens were discovered, that somehow fundamental rules of interaction would change. And I really think, I used to believe that, like 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. If you had asked me, I would have said, oh no, disclosure will change things. People will get it. That there are aliens, that the government knew all along. But today I don't think that would happen. I think even if there were disclosure of some sort, that people would fundamentally act exactly the same as they do, because they act that way according to fundamental laws of physics, not due to the fact that they choose to do that. So I feel like aliens possible, much more likely that privatized space has technology that is just incredible and have worked out a ton of problems and likely use plasma cosmology and the electric universe fundamental principles for all the technology that we don't know about, or that we know about but we don't see. So we'll see if some of that makes its way to the public. Like even now, for example, you can get an induction charger, right? So you can get a little plate, put your phone down, and electricity transfers through the air, so to speak. So we already have this really, what Tesla knew about and was playing with 100 years ago, 120 years ago, and probably even earlier than that. I would imagine that even like cultures in the past, the way you would explain some of the high-level technology of ancient aliens, so-called ancient aliens, would be the fact that things were much more highly charged, and therefore electricity, like you could charge things in the air without really trying. So therefore there was light, there was energy consumption in the past in a way that we didn't have, that now we have to burn fuel to create the same result. But in fact, like the air and our bodies already have enough electricity if used the correct way. So, what's up, Rastaman Lives? What's happening? What's up, Chuck Jackson? What part of the country is this in? This is in Central Florida, near Tampa. Vincent 52, what's happening? Welcome. And yeah. Michigan Woodland Warrior, what's going on? I think you can cast out ETs in the name of Jesus Christ. Well, I've started to think that I've started to think that there's a way to tie in pretty much every story in the context of the electric universe, in the context of connected bubble universe. People, figures like Jesus Christ or Noah could have easily existed in the context of a guru or a shaman, somebody who was just espousing ideas that the patriarchy or the government didn't want people to hear, especially somebody good-looking and hanging out with a bunch of people and causing a ruckus. They're not going to let somebody like that slip. So they made an example, potentially, of Jesus. Not to insult anybody's image of Jesus, but it makes much more sense that he was more of a shaman who did a bunch of drugs and had an experience that made him understand that he was the embodiment of the larger whole. Just like the same thing that we're talking about here in terms of a fractal or holographic universe concept. So if Jesus Christ was talking about that stuff and a group of people in power don't want to hear that, then you're going to get the stories that we get. So I feel like I was even considering something recently about the Big Bang, where we've even hit this threshold where there's almost like the Big Bang didn't happen, it's not science, and even I've said stuff like that. But I'm starting to think that even the Big Bang, not in the context that it's portrayed today, but the Big Bang in terms of a very powerful energy point, that is definitely a possibility within the electric universe. So I feel like there are ways to explain our current cosmology from a more advanced and more multidimensional perspective, which takes into account religion, and it takes into account different facets of science, from string theory to standard cosmology to, special theory of relativity. It takes into account all these different things, and it says within this context, these things can exist. However, there's a fundamental geometry to the universe, the torus and the hourglass, or the donut on the hourglass, stuff I've sketched a million times. But this fundamental geometry can determine how we see things and how memory is created and stored, and how stars are grown, and how fruit appear on a tree with all the information within them to create another tree. This can be explained via the electric universe, cannot be explained now without using ad hoc or without using abstractions to the point of things like Mother Nature. That's not, it sounds great, but it's not really science. So I think these kind of really abstruse terms that are, the way we speak about nature as somehow a person with its own ideas is really, separating the human from this earth. And we're not separate from this earth. Not physically, but energetically, we're tied to earth. And yet constantly there's this idea that somehow we're destroying earth, or we're different than animals, or we have to leave earth, But these are ridiculous notions, because we're one and the same. The earth, in fact, enables us to exist. We don't exist ex-earth. So, yeah, those are some thoughts. Getting dry. I need some liquids over here. Let's take a little break and play some more tunes. 10:21. I'm gonna ride out the show till the moon disappears over my windowsill. It's always so poetic. This is an old track in 7/4.
Calling in from outer space, holding up nowhere to lie. Sending out telemetry and tell me what you do with it if you were me. Position from above, she said it was the kernel. Regularly making love, it wasn't eternal. We got you back on stage, just to feel the hurt. Your band had left the classes, wasn't even booked. This in the middle, I can't afford it. Went to the side on your big taxi, no matter how you earn it. Full correct through when your life was bitter. Bring it to your rebirth day, we busted out on Twitter. Rolling out of history, feeling nothing's intensity too. 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 Calling in from outer space, holding up the rest of life. Sending out telemetry and tell me what you'd do with it if you were me.
Falling away from the earth, calling up the space, but you don't even hear me. I'm calling down from the fallen. Bring me back, just bring me back out of the cold. Ooh, bring me back, just bring me back
cut that off a little short. What's happening, everybody? Just want to hop in here and say welcome to anybody new. I see Chuck Jackson. What's going on? Don't think I've seen you in the chat before, but welcome. Let me know if you have any questions, or we have a very friendly and intellectual chat room that will help. Esoteric Gold, what are you going on about? Says, Esoteric says, Jesus' father was supposedly a pharaoh. I heard an interview with a specialist who said he went on a journey for 11 missing to meet other dynasties and pharaohs and partake of their bread of life. The bread of life refers to white powdered gold, a monatomic isotope of gold, energy-based, not chemical, an elixir of life. An elixir, I've actually heard that story before. I can't remember where, but I find it really fascinating. There's a reference, I wonder if it's that same reference to orichalcum in Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, this old game. But I would imagine that there are references to either, I want to say regular drugs or psychedelic drugs, but really all sorts of drugs, allusions to drugs in all the ancient writings. So in combination with cosmology and alchemy, our ancestors were basically junkies as well, to some degree, and also alcoholics. And I think we carry on that tradition as cultures, not in a negative way, definitely can be negative and can be positive, but I think it's just an attribution of life consuming life. And so I feel like, the fact that Jesus may have taken a certain number of substances and traveled in order to meet with other intellects and discuss ideas of the time, it makes perfect sense. And it would be a really good reason for them to make an example of him. So I used to be very atheistic back in the day and thinking, Jesus, why would anyone believe in this character? But it makes much more sense that there are lots of archetypal characters in our mythos, and each of them has their own reason for existing and reason for having been created as either a moral or a transitory figure, or even just a junkie who had an outer body experience and came back raving to the cities, telling people about it, saying, hey, I am the Son of God. So people were like, no. Can't have this. This guy's enlightened. What's going on? But I feel like, Esoteric Gold says, when Jesus came back from the 11 missing years, he had consumed the bread of life, which allowed him to do these miracles, the projection powder. I believe the principalities described, that's a completely non sequitur. That's a complete non sequitur. Right, so I think there's kind of a seductive rationale for trying to imagine like the Egyptians as being able to interact with aliens, or, for example, Jesus performing magic to some degree in this context. But I feel like it's really seductive to think that, but it's much more logical to think that people were killed for simpler reasons, and people were considered crazy for far simpler reasons. For even saying one or two things, you could get in trouble. Or, we live in a much better culture overall, but still, I feel like, and it's not for me to not want things and stories to be seductive and interesting. However, there are ways to keep them interesting and seductive without introducing, a layer to our physics that can't really be obtained easily by contemporary man. mankind. And so, performing miracles. So I would say that this kind of idea of advanced magic that we see in movies is really much better understood in terms of, for example, just doing what we do right now. I think running a computer and chatting in a chat room and observing the moon. These are magic. This is magic. And magic, what I mean is magnetic interaction. I feel like we've elevated certain ideas, like turning water into wine, like, for example, flying, right? Right now we have these machines that allow us to fly, but this idea that we can ascend and fly is something that's not physically natural for the human organism to do. So I think going with the flow, really, I think I lost my train of thought right there, but essentially, how do I land this? Let me land it by saying that I feel like at some point we all have the power to have, that by simply existing, we are performing magic. Got it. It's like, where the hell was I? What was I talking about? What's happening, Zoe Wood? Welcome. And so, yeah, so the moon is going behind my windowsill. That's what's going on right here with the image. Can't help but feel the pull. All right, let me adjust this one moment. Yeah, so, not to sound arrogant about it, but really speaking, creating anything like baking bread, having children, these are magical events that somehow humanity has kind of extracted from the sense that we think magic is, like waving a wand and, freezing something, or killing someone, or bringing somebody back from the dead, versus, build a refrigerator, freeze something, build a jetpack, fly. Mankind is already achieving magic via simply existing and doing the things we already do, but somehow the imagination is always striving to understand or to see or experience these supernatural events. So to go back to really what Esoteric Gold was talking about, with Jesus taking monatomic gold powder, kind of an early form, I guess, of like super dust, right? Take a sniff of the super dust and then you can do all these crazy things. I feel like maybe he was just a great cook. maybe he could just age and make great liquor, you know what I mean? I think that would be way more logical. And then the myth of Jesus was that he had a lot of great drugs, made a lot of good food, and people idolized him, like they do now, like Emerald or Guy Fieri. People sort of idolize him. You could make up a mythos about Guy Fieri, and people would believe it because his cultural bubble is so powerful. It's given so much energy by the audience that you could create a tale and say Guy Fieri is basically an alien from, Cygnus 3. And he just showed up to do diners, drive-ins, and dives because just had nothing better to do. And people would be like, oh, Guy Fieri's an alien. Oh my God, so seductive. I knew he was hungry for human information. What's up, Rick Dangerous? I crash landed, yeah. No, I just pulled it out of the water right here. Just tried to explain. Magic, magnetic interaction. Yeah, I mean, I know I riff sometimes, but that's really the idea of magnetize. I know a lot of people who love that numerology and coded language, but I mean, I love it too, but it can get really grating if you tear apart every single word and every single letter and number and try and explain how it ties into the next thing. But yeah, I mean, we use words that we don't understand or that we intentionally misrepresent, and yet they mean what they are, you know, magnetize. You can feel when somebody's looking at you. Why? Because at the center of our eye, there's an oscillator, and behind our back is the reverse chest oscillator chakra. And that cone that's sucking in etheric energy, and somebody's eye is exuding this energy or this resonance, and the layers of plasma at whatever distance interact, create a transverse electrical phenomenon, and this phenomenon is coded plasma, which is the magnetic null zone between the two oscillations, and therefore they are drawn to this point. That's why your gaze is drawn to this point, and the chakra from the oscillation of the chest, the reverse, your back, is conically emanates outwards and receives and also sends. So it's propagating a reception signal, and another person's eyes are sending I want to see signal or frequency resonation. And these two resonant frequencies create that mutual mass acceleration point. And that point is the coded information in a form of a cymatic three-dimensional holographic pattern that the two oscillations interpret as reality. The Rastaman Lives said, no one faced Roman persecution for Anthony Bourdain, though. What do you mean? He was, I don't know, he spoke his mind, but he was pretty by the book, pretty conservative viewpoints. Magic. Esoteric Gold is saying, the ancient Egyptian and Sumerian literature, the Nag Hammadi scriptures talk of the Anunnaki and their advanced technology, for example. But you know what I mean? Like, what makes it more advanced than what we have and also theoretically have? So even the way it's articulated, in the sense that, oh man, contemporary mankind is so lame, the Egyptians really had it much better, advanced technology. You know, I'm exaggerating, but that's really that's kind of the energy by which the media has really entertained this idea that somehow humankind right now is just the absolute worst. Cancer on the planet, do away with mankind, that's it, we're done, we're lame. And ancient aliens, Egyptians, high-level technology. Mankind today is so stupid. Ancient aliens, ooh, so high level. Again, exaggerating, but that's the implication, right? Because right now, assuming like reality is what we know it as today, and we don't live in ancient Egyptian times, technology is at its absolute MFing peak, like absolute peak. So I think it's really important to reinterpret Egyptology, and I'm not saying again that I want to remove the seduction of how amazing ancient Egypt must have been, but I just imagine they had similar technology, maybe rudimentary versions of what we have today, which any type of electricity and batteries and charging and vehicles would be considered advanced technology, right? So not to take away from our ancestors, but likely we live at the peak of all technology that's ever existed. simply by the fact that we exist at this moment and not at any other moment along the Birkeland filament. We only exist and I'm not saying that we don't have memory or echoes of the past, but the actual oscillation where we are as I'm speaking, every vibration that I make that's coming out of my mouth along the Birkeland filament is fractally resonant along this one point of interaction. So I speak, resonates with the plasma, creates the next layer, creates the next layer, creates the next layer. And I think from that vantage point, we are at peak technology. So seductive as it may be, the superdust, we must have some superdust today, is what I'm saying. So I think, I don't know if you can snort any substance that will allow you to produce alchemy with your hands, so to speak. And I don't think the Earth energetic field allows for people to jump extremely long distances, for example. So here's where I will acquiesce and say that, if you want to imagine ancient abilities of humankind, I would say that those perhaps were more advanced, like being able to jump long distances, or to jump higher, or to hold their breath longer, or maybe, things like that, things that are essentially exaggerations of abilities we already have, that every creature already has as a manifestation of their vibration. Yeah, I don't know, Howie. I think everybody who laughs at agendas of sorts, I think to some degree, there are agendas, but some degree there are variances of everything that exist on Earth. So it's easy enough to tie in to be suspicious of absolutely everything versus accept that the world is actually super interesting and has all sorts of different things, including CIA agendas, right? Even those make life interesting. All right, esoteric gold. Yeah, that was just fun, just riffing on some ideas. Yeah, everybody thinks, but yeah, I think we live in a really incredible world where there's just everything to take in. So let's finish this up with some tunes. Let the moon ride out. Appreciate everybody hanging out with me tonight. 1048, Edge of Space, Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, don't get copywritten. They ruined it, took away all the good titles. You gotta dip and dodge to find the good titles. But Edge of Space is my thing, all right? Ellie Wynn says, I am not at my peak oscillating. Why not, Ellie Wynn? I hope you are soon. What does he say? People who hate people teach that anti-people stuff. Oh man, so much to talk about, but yeah, I agree. I think there is all of that, but I also think that in a way, that's the challenge as a God that we create for ourselves. All of these things, absolutely every challenge from day to day is something that we as the kind of co-creator with reality make these challenges in order to keep life interesting. But that's not to say that some challenges are not more difficult than others. And therefore, maybe people don't choose their lot in life, but we certainly choose struggle, since really the inevitability is death. So I feel like as we go kicking and screaming, maybe the best way to do it is to go relaxed and happily to our inevitable demise. Just like Earth, allow it to turn into a star and allow it to burn up and stop trying to fix and save everything. Bless up, Howie. Bless up, everybody. What should I close out on? How about Game of Life or Golden? How about both of them? Alright, everybody. This one and then Prism Dagger. Then I'm out. I'll catch y'all real soon. Thanks so much. Take care, stay wise, and spread the love. See you soon.
No, no lie. I've been thinking about you all night. Why? No, I've been waiting for your white light. No, I've been thinking that you should be mine. So call me up. And let's get down. So call me up. And let's get down. Oh, you send me messages across the cosmic network, and you send me pictures from across the astral plane, and you send me cryptic kisses across the matching network. So call me up. And let's get down. So call me up. And let's get down. Je t'attends, mon amour, reste où tu es. Assis la main que la lune s'y met. Agitant la brise éternelle. Avec pendant son oublié. Je suis la même que ton avant l'année chaque jour. Je t'attends, mon amour, avec les mecs sans agrévé. Et c'est Lunar magnétique. C'est l'amour magnétique. C'est mon amour magnifique. You can love other people.
Once I